Okay, so I'm back in the Nicotine house, and I'm going to try to flip this house, but I need to get these stains taken care of. And to do that, Kilz Restoration. So I saw some reviews on Home Depot. This is Kilz highest level, if you will, of primer, from what I understand. And a lot of the reviews on Home Depot's website showed where people had used it in this sort of situation with good results, covering up nicotine stains. So I did go in here and just kind of put a bleach and water solution on the walls and applied it with a broom. It did help the smell a little bit, but it's still here. And so next step is the Kilz, and it says it blocks odor, it blocks stains.
So here we are. This is the day that we start putting on the primer, spraying. We've got everything taped off. The house is closed up. The windows are taped off. Basically everything that we don't want to get primer or paint on has been taped off. And we've got the sprayer. We've got the Kilz Restoration going on today. And so the main process of, primer or Kilz is the same. The Kilz is called a primer. Going on is to seal up the walls, block the stains, block the smells. You don't want the stains bleeding through the paint. And so that's what we've got going on today. We'll apply the Kilz, the primer, and then we'll come back and we'll paint, and then the paint will give it the finished color. You couldn't just put primer on and then walk away and expect that to be a finished product. So it's definitely a two-step process here, and we'll show you that throughout the video. So you can see we're turning the walls white, and at this point, basically we're trying to keep the house warm, keep the climate above 50 degrees so that everything cures correctly and that we don't have a failure in the primer. And then also full and generous coverage of all surfaces inside this house with the Kilz primer. And so we're just blowing it on the walls, blowing it on the ceilings, and going. So here's the living areas after we've put that first coat of Kilz on there, the primer. So you can still see the outline of a lot of these stains, and it's changed the color, but that's not necessarily the main function when dealing with a primer. You want the primer to seal and to block those stains from bleeding through when you actually put the paint on, and the paint is what has the color. So even when we're applying this primer, it's kind of disheartening to see, as it dries, you can still see the outline of, grandma's photo that was on the wall and the outline of the nicotine stains. But you want to put the primer on first to block those stains from actually coming through the paint. And the paint is what has the color. Even if that color is white, like it's going to be in our case, it's the final finished color. So that's where you have that total, blockage. So this is the first coat of primer, and it's already done a great job of, changing the color, changing the look of the room, but that's not its main function. We put the primer on to ensure that when we actually put the final coat of paint on there, that all those stains don't bleed back through. And also, the blocking of the smell and covering the smell. So this is after the first coat. We go ahead and put a second coat on this just to make sure that it's where we want it in the living rooms, because they were the worst areas. And so let's continue to check out the project. Okay, so here's after 2 coats of the Kilz Restoration on the walls. This one's drying up. That first coat, the walls are really sucking it up, soaking in every bit that we're spraying on there. On the paneling, it was running a little bit, and this is probably mid 50s, upper 50s outside today, so the house is kind of cold. But that second coat that we put on there, it didn't take much at all, and so I feel like it sealed up pretty good. And we're pretty satisfied with the second coat that we didn't do the second half of the house. We just did the main living areas with 2 coats, the ceilings, and felt like the first coat pretty much sealed everything and is ready for paint. Smell, feel like it's gone. I've been having a couple other people come in and just say, what do you think about the smell? And they've all said that they can't smell the nicotine. So I feel like it's done a good job of blocking the stains, sealing the stains in, and then hiding or eliminating the odor that was in the house. So this is 2 coats in the living room, dining room, I don't know what you call these areas, these living areas. 2 coats on the walls and the ceilings, and then 1 good coat on the back, on the bedrooms, bathrooms, hallway. So it seems like it did what we needed it to do. True test will be when we put the paint on there. We're gonna let this dry overnight. I've got some space heaters in the house, and we're gonna let it just kind of dry and cure, and then tomorrow we'll put some paint on it and see what we end up with. Now we're putting some paint on the walls. So this is the white paint. So I decided to go with just a white, honestly, because I wanted, if there was going to be any bleed through, if there was going to be any stains coming through, I wanted to be able to see it for my own curiosity, I guess. So this is us. The color we used was Frost from Behr, Home Depot's line of paint. And so this is us putting it on, and you can see it has the actual color going on it, whereas the primer was mainly just to seal. And so this is the next day after we applied all the primer. We let it dry overnight, and we started spraying on the paint here. And when we're spraying, we could tell we're getting really good coverage. with this paint, you know, when we're putting the primer on it, it felt like we were just dumping as much would come out on the walls. And then this, you know, as this paint's going on, we were just getting good coverage, and it was turning the walls a real good shade of white. And we're pretty happy with what we had going there. And so we just continue to do this to the whole house. You know, the walls, you can see, you know, you can still see where the stains were, but they're sealed in. And we're finding that out as we're, you know, applying the paint to this house, that, you know, as it started going more and more, we realized that, you know, it had worked. The primer had sealed everything in, and the paint was doing a good job of changing the color of this house and, you know, these walls. So pretty happy with it. So we'll continue to show you this project as it progresses. It looks good though. Okay, so all the paint's been applied. We've primed, we've painted, we've come, we've conquered, and now we've got a white interior on this house. It basically gives a blank canvas. The smell's gone, and the stains are gone, and so it worked out pretty well. We'll take all the plastic and the masking off the windows, and when the light gets in here, we get the light fixtures back up. It actually turned out to be a pretty bright, well, it looks really good inside from where we started, and the smell's gone and taken care of, and it allows this house to, you know, have a blank canvas as far as the walls, and whoever comes in next and does something with this project will be able to do that without, you know, the stains and the smells. And so we feel like the Kilz with the Behr Marquee paint really helped, really took care of the problem that we had there. And with the HVAC and everything else that we replaced, really feel like we tackled that problem. Okay, so here's after paint, after Kilz. So we first did Kilz Restoration everywhere, and then we put the paint, and you can see the nicotine stains are gone. You can't probably smell it, but the smell is gone as well. So I would say, in my opinion, overall, the Kilz Restoration worked pretty great. You can see the sand dollars or starfish are gone, you know, so it did what we wanted it to do compared to what it was before. You know, when you walked into this house before, the only thing you could think about, the only thing that you would look at, the only thing that was on your mind was the stains and the smell from the nicotine. And so now you can actually walk around in here without, you know, like when I first came in here, I couldn't handle it as far as the smell. And so definitely can actually look at it. I'm gonna sell it like this. It's already been shown a few times, and everybody that's looked at it's been, you know, house flippers, investors, landlords, and so they can take the project from there. We did replace the HVAC system, you know, from the grills all the way back to the unit. I did a video on that as well, so you can check that out, what the inside of the HVAC system looks like from a smoker's house, nicotine house. And let me tell you, it's bad. Go check out that video, and it'll blow your mind what the inside of that AC system looked like. And so couldn't you know, take the smell out of the house with the primer and paint and then expect to turn on the AC and everything be fresh and good. So I would have just been pumping all that right back into the house. So as far as the paint goes, we use the Kilz Restoration hardware, or not Restoration hardware, the Kilz Restoration. We used 10, I think we used 15 gallons of that on the walls. So here in the living room, living areas, kitchen, hallway, I think we actually put 2 coats of the Kilz primer. And then I came in with white. This is Behr paint. The color is called Frost. And we used the more expensive paint, which was supposed to, you know, normally does a pretty good job of you know, it's a paint and primer in one, so it can kind of do some covering as well, some sealing. But we use Marquee, the Behr Marquee line of Home Depot's paint, Frost, on everything, you know, the doors, the trim, the walls, the ceilings, everything got 1 coat of that. And I think we used 10 gallons of the actual paint. So 15 gallons of primer, 10 gallons of paint, and it got the smell knocked down, got the stains covered. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think about what we did there. Put up some inexpensive ceiling fans, some light fixtures, replace the HVAC, and there it is. So I did a couple other videos on this house. Go check those out. Like I said, there's an HVAC video that shows what the inside of that looks like. And appreciate you checking out the channel. See you on the next one.